this is a challenging talk, you know. I need to teach people to write English papers and using English, okay? Okay. 4 years ago, an elementary school teacher became my PhD student, okay? But according to the rule of my institute, he need to publish at least 2 SSCI journals to get his PhD degree. So I started to worry, how can I teach this elementary school teacher to write quality academic papers, okay? So this is what I would like to share you, how I teach this elementary school teacher, okay? And he got his PhD degree in 3 years. And after publishing 5 SSCI journal papers, okay? So I hope that our experience can help some of you, okay? In particular, for those who just try to start writing English paper, okay? First of all, we need to know the structure of a journal paper, okay? And usually, of course, we need to have a title and author of the information, okay? And then we need to have an abstract to summarize what we have done in the study, present in the paper. And there's an introduction section. Usually, there will also be a literature review section. So usually we say section 1, we mean introduction section, okay? And section 2, we say literature review section. And then there could be different structure of the paper. If you only investigate some issues without develop any new system or without proposing any new strategy, then you come to this research question section, and then method section, and then result, discussion, conclusion, and then reference, okay, reference list. However, if you develop some new system, or you propose some new strategy or model, then you come to this, okay? After the research question, you need to show what is your new approach or system. And then you need to have an experimental design to show how your approach or system work, to prove it work, okay? So the first thing is to have a good paper title. It is very important, okay? The length of the paper title usually 10 to 15 words. It could be longer or shorter, but it need to be able to clearly present the objective, innovation, or contribution of the study. So if your title is like this, development of a mobile learning system is a very bad title, because from this title, we cannot see anything innovative. We don't know what is its contribution, okay? So it's not a good title. A new approach for developing mobile learning system. It looks better, but what do you mean new approach? Not clear, right? I don't know. New? What does new mean? Okay, it's not good, okay? A mobile learning system based on an interactive concept map approach. It's better, some innovation in this title, because it emphasizes an interactive concept map. Usually concept map does not interactive with people, okay, but this is an interactive one. It sounds innovative, okay? How about this? An interactive concept map approach to supporting mobile learning activity for natural science courses is a good title, because it contains innovation and contribution, okay? And the objective is very clear, okay? So this paper is accepted by Computer Education, the best e-learning journal. So when talk about the abstract, an abstract should be short and powerful. So when we write an abstract, each sentence need to be written very careful, okay? So the structure usually contain of the following. Okay, you have the space of one sentence. You can only use one sentence at most two to address your motivation and the aim of the study. What are you trying to cope with? What problem do you try to cope with? Okay, you can only use one or two sentences to address this issue. And you can use one sentence to address your approach, and another sentence to address how you evaluate your approach. Okay, and then you can have one or two sentences to address your finding and contribution. Okay, that's an abstract. So each sentence should be very powerful. Okay. So if you have a good paper title and a good abstract, the reviewer starts thinking, okay, it sounds a good paper. I should read it carefully, right? But if you have a bad paper title and a bad abstract, the reviewer will start thinking, how can I find some reason to reject this paper? Right? He already lost his patience to read the paper very carefully. Okay. And here comes the introduction section. Introduction should be able to show your background and motivation and the objective of your study. By background, I mean you need to let people know why this research topic is important. Okay, so based on previous study, many scholars might already address that the research field is very important. So many research already done something in that field. Okay, so that means the background. Okay, and what does the motivation mean? The topic is important. Many people have conduct some study in that topic, but why you still need to do this study, right? What's wrong with the previous study? What had not been done in the previous study? You need to address that. That will become your motivation. So the second paragraph should be address why we still need a new study, okay? And then you can address what is the innovation, how I deal with the problem that the previous study cannot deal with. Okay, you need to propose what is my purpose, what is my new approach, and then how I evaluate my approach, and best by answering some research question. Okay, how I do that. That's what should be contained in an introduction section. Okay, it's about maybe 500 to 1,000 words. It's a bigger abstract, okay, and a more detailed abstract. And then here comes the, I think the most challenging section, literature review. Many people ignore literature review, the importance of literature review when writing a paper, right? For many students, when they write a master thesis or a PhD dissertation, okay, they just try to collect many references and put into the reference list and cite a lot and write a lot, and they say, okay, that make me a PhD dissertation or master thesis looks, why? Very valuable because many pages, 100 pages, okay, but that's not good, okay. In fact, literature review is very important. It can support your learning motivation, and it can also help reviewer recognize the contribution of your study. So the purpose is you need to tell a story about what has been done in detail and what needs to be done in the future. You might wonder that, hey, I already told that in the introduction section. Why I need to give a more detailed description again? Yes, you always need to give a more detailed description again and again. In the abstract, you say something like that very, very briefly, right? You know, instruction, you give more detailed things. And in the literature review, you need to provide the most detailed content to emphasize the importance and necessity of the present study. That's what we do in the literature review. So literature review is not just only collects many previous study and put it together. It's not something like that, okay? It's used to emphasize your contribution and innovation, okay? Also, it can be used to show your expertise in that field. So if you do a very bad literature review, the reviewer might think, okay, this author do not understand this field. For example, if you do something about mobile learning and you write a very bad mobile learning literature review, the reviewer might think, okay, this person don't know what mobile learning is. Then you know what will happen, okay? He will try to find some reason to reject your paper because he already think you don't know anything about mobile learning. How can you write a good mobile learning paper? How can you conduct a good mobile learning study? So when you done literature review, remember one thing, you need to cite good journal papers, okay? Not cite wiki, not cite, okay? Usually I do not allow my students to cite a conference paper unless necessary, or web page, or master thesis. I do not allow my students to cite that. I encourage my students to cite SSCI journal papers, okay? Because that's quality papers. That means the author know those high quality journal papers well, okay? Okay, so this is the most challenging section, so I need to spend some time to tell you how we do that, okay? First of all, you need to collect 20 or 30 papers published in the past decade, maybe 10 years, okay? And then you check the reference list of those papers, those 30 or 20 or 30 papers, okay, you check. And you can find something interesting. For example, if you are doing some study about game-based learning, and you collect 30 to 20 to 30 game-based learning paper, okay, and you check the reference list of those papers, and you will find some common reference of those papers, right? What does that mean? That means you need to include those common reference also, because that must be very important reference. That could be someone who proposed a motivation theory, or someone who proposed some game-based learning, a basic theory. So you need to include those references because that could be very important because other people all cite that paper. So you cannot ignore that one, right? So you also need to include those in, okay. Also you need to check if already have a target journal. For example, you try to submit your paper to computer and education. Then you need to check if the paper you collect contain any computer and education paper. Okay. If no, then you need to find some. If you cannot find some, then I suggest you had better not to submit the paper to computer and education. Okay. Okay. And then you need to organize the objective and finding of those studies following a predefined structure. So the problem is, what is the predefined structure? How can I define the structure of my paper? So let's start with a small test, okay? Assume that your paper title is an interactive concept map approach to support mobile learning activity for natural science courses. Okay, assume that is, okay, you have a paper like this, a paper title like this, okay. What should be the succession in the literature review section? I mean, please give me the title of the succession in the literature review section. As I have mentioned, it's section 2, right? Section 2, literature review. So what is the title? Okay, I mean section head of section 2.1 and 2.2 and 2.3 or more? Okay, first question, okay. How many subsections should be included in the literature review section for this paper title? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many? 3? 3? How? Okay. Please give me the title of the 3. the heading of the 3 subsection. It should be include concept map, okay, 1, and mobile learning and nature science. It depends, yes, maybe, yeah, it depends. If your study is mainly for solve the problem of natural science, yeah, it should be, okay. If your study is mainly for language learning, you should have a subsection about, little bit about language learning, right? Technology enhanced language learning. But in this study, no, the aim is to propose interactive concept mapping approach for mobile learning. And the natural science course is only one of the application for evaluate the performance of those approach. Okay. How about interactive? Okay. And let me ask, okay, how you order those succession, or you put those succession randomly? We have interactive, okay, interactive technology, right? We have mobile learning and we have concept mapper, right? What is the order of those 3 succession? Can they be put in section 2 randomly, or they need to be put in some particular order? Let's start, okay. So which one should be the section 2.1? Mobile learning or concept map or interactive technology? Interactive technology, why? It's bigger? Okay. Oh, it's bigger, okay. And any other answers? That's a good thought, yeah. I will consider that. It's a good thought, yeah. It's a bigger one to put in shown first, okay. Okay, let's, I just want to remind you, okay, when you try to decide the order of this subsection, they need to be in some logical sequence. It need to have some meaning, right? Why I put this in some order, right? So if I were you, I will put in this sequence, okay. I will say mobile learning first. Why? Because concept mapping is used to support mobile learning, okay. And the interactive technology is used to make concept map more powerful. Okay, so this is my logical. Okay, of course you can have other logical, just as you say. Okay, so I will introduce mobile learning first, and then now here comes another problem. How many paragraphs should be included in the mobile learning section? How many paragraphs? Oh, okay, you already know the answer, right? Okay, yeah, 4 paragraphs. Usually I will put 4 paragraphs. And what is the key point of each paragraph? I will define mobile learning first, right? Because there are many definitions of mobile learning. I need to let the readers know what is my definition in this study about mobile learning, right? I need to say that first. What is mobile learning? And then what have been done? What have been adapted? How mobile learning have been adapted to for many applications? That will emphasize the importance of mobile learning, right? It has been adapted for many courses, different courses, for different applications. Again, what have been found in previous study? Many studies might already investigate the impact of mobile learning on student learning achievement, motivation, attitude, learning interest, or something else, right? What have been found? And then I will add another section. What are the problems in previous mobile learning study? What have not been done, right? Or what are the problems? Then, for example, in a mobile learning activity, the student need to face the real world scenario, and and also need to face the learning resource accessed from the mobile device via the internet, and then need to recall what they have learned from the textbook, right? So many research have indicated that the student need better strategy or tool to help them organize those information. Okay, so I will write that in the last paragraph of this literature review. That comes to that will lead to the next subsection. What is the next subsection? Concept mapping, right? So now I will ask you another question, okay. How many paragraphs should be included in the concept mapping section? How many paragraphs? You need to review, right? You already raised a question, right? About mobile learning, right? We need something to help students organize what they have observed, what they have learned, what they have accessed, right? During the mobile learning process, right? We need something, right? And it seems that concept map is a solution, right? And then what should you do? What should you arrange the content of the concept map subsection? How many paragraphs should be included? Let me tell you, okay, usually I will give 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is the definition of concept mapping. Okay, what is concept mapping, right? And then the second paragraph, the application of concept mapping, right? Okay, and then the third paragraph is, the finding, research finding of using concept mapping, right? And what is the fourth paragraph? There must be some problems, right? So we need another helper, right? There must be some problem. Okay, so that's why we need some instant feedback or interactive technology to help. Yes, that's right. Yes. And then now here comes the third subsection, okay? Instant feedback or interactive technology, right? What is the instant feedback or interactive technology? And what have been in technology or interface been applied to some application? And what is the finding? Okay. And then what should we present in the fourth section of this subsection? For paragraph of this subsection. What is the title of this? What is the key point of this? The problem of instant feedback? No, we don't have nothing. We have nothing to support this thing, right? It should be the ending, right? This paragraph should be the ending of the whole literature review, right? So what you will address in this paragraph, you need to say, therefore, in this study, we try to propose an interactive or a concept mapping strategy with instant feedback or an interactive concept mapping approach to support mobile learning in the field. Okay, that's a good ending. So as you can see, so can you follow my logic of arranging those subsections and each paragraph of the subsection? Okay, so now you realize, right? So it is not so difficult, but for many researchers, it is very difficult and challenging to write a good literature review section. In fact, it's not difficult if you know how to arrange those, the structure of it, okay? Okay, so I want to tell you a secret of how to start writing an English paper efficiently, okay? First of all, need to find a most related paper published in a good journal. Not a bad journal, okay? Because you need to find a template to follow. So you need to find a paper published in very good journal, okay? And then the paper must be report a system, a method, or the investigation of an issue that is relevant to yours. Of course, not the same, okay? If you find some paper exactly the same as yours, then you don't need to publish it, okay? Okay, that's similar or relevant to your topic. You need to find such a paper. Also, this paper use a similar experimental design or research method as yours. Also, it analyze the data using similar statistics method as yours. Okay, you can find such a paper as your model, okay, your template, okay. Then, you analyze the structure of the paper. You try to analyze the structure of the paper. I will show you an example, okay? Then we analyze the structure of the paper, and including the layout of section and subsection, including, and for each subsection, how many paragraphs are included? What is the key point of each paragraph? Just as I show you in the literature review section. You need to analyze all of the section and subsection and each paragraph, okay, to find the key point of each paragraph. And for each paragraph, how many sentences are there? And what is the point of each sentence? Okay. Why we need to do that? Because if we analyze a paper that is similar to ours, if we analyze its structure, this could be a good reference for us to define the structure of our own paper, right? Okay, that's the easiest way to start, okay? So what I try to do is to, after analyzing the detailed structure of a paper, we can determine the detailed structure of our own paper, okay? We can determine the section, succession, and each paragraph and the key point of each paragraph, of each section or succession, yes. And the key point and the sentence of each, okay. The key point of each sentence, okay. So what I mean is we can copy the structure of a quality paper, but we cannot copy its content, okay? Remember, okay, okay. So it's the easiest way is to copy the structure of a quality paper. So I show you how we do that. Can you read that? No. Okay. This is how we do it. Okay. Usually, when we get a paper, it should be in PDF format, right? You can copy paste the content into a Word file. That will make it easier to analyze its structure. Okay. So this, what we the result of the analyze. This is abstract, right? As you can see that we try to analyze each sentence of this abstract. The first sentence is about to point out the problem to be coped with. Okay. And the second sentence in the abstract is present the approach and the experiment design. Okay. The second paragraph. In fact, there are two sentences. Two sentences. And then here is another paragraph. Present the finding. Maybe two sentences to present the finding. Okay, one, moreover, is two sentences. And then the author make a conclusion. Okay. To address the contribution of this paper. Okay. So if you want to write a quality paper, you need to follow the structure of a quality paper. Okay. Based on your analysis result. Okay. And here comes the introduction section. Okay. I think I will leave this file to you. Okay, so you can read it. I advise that you need to read this file very carefully and in detail. Okay, you know how to analyze the structure of the paper. As we are running out of time, in fact, I would like to teach you some English. Okay. Also, there are something to be noted. Okay. We need to define the format of our paper in advance. For example, for the section, you use the size 14 and the board. And for subsection, you use font size 12 and the board. Okay. And then within in succession, you might need to point out 1, 2, 3, and use this. Okay. With norm. Okay. So when we start writing the paper, we need to define the format of it. Okay. Before start writing, so the format will be consistent. Also, do not indent a paragraph unless necessary. This is a back example, okay? The author, okay, 4 and then indent 4.5 and then indent the paragraph and then indent 1, 2, 3, right? This is a back example. The better way is not to indent. This is a good example of the format of a quality paper. Also, do not state things in the form of an item list unless necessary. For example, you want to introduce the system unit. You say, okay, the system consists of 3 units, and each unit contains several functions. It is the best way to present your paper in this. Okay, but how? In fact, you only need 1 paragraph to address those things. This is a better way. Okay, unless the content is very important. Otherwise, please avoid using those item list. Okay. Confusing? Okay. And we need to avoid using too many first-person statements. We, I, we need to avoid using too many. Okay. And of course, we definitely cannot use the you. Okay. In an academic paper, there should not be something like you should do something. No, not you. Okay. Also, we need to avoid a long sentence. For example, this is a long sentence. Okay. It will make the reviewer unhappy because he need to pay much effort to understand what you are talking about. But if you use these are the same content. Okay, use a short sentence to address the same thing. It will make the reviewer happier. Okay. Also, the one important thing is to use the tense carefully. I'm not sure if in Thai language you have tense in your language. In Chinese we don't have tense, but in English the tense is very important, right? For example, he is my best friend and he was my best friend. It's very different meaning in English, right? If I say, no. Okay, if I say, Pat was my best friend, that means, that could have 2 meanings, right? One meaning is Pat is no longer my friend. Okay, because I use was, right? And another meaning is maybe Pat is not alive. Okay, she already passed away. So you need to be very careful when you use the tense. Okay, and for an EFL, I mean English, EFL, English are foreign language researchers. They usually use too many present tense, and they use not enough past tense, and seldom use present perfect tense, and use too many future tense. Okay, I can only give you some very quick example. Okay, present tense usually is usually to describe some fact or truth, something. Yeah, some fact or truth. So we need to be very careful when we use present tense. For example, if you say people like to learn with computers, no. How can you sure? If you say people like to learn with computers, that means you are telling a truth, a fact. That means on the earth, every people like to learn with computers and no exception. That is not correct. This is not a correct statement, right? Usually, when we use a present tense, we will use some more preservative terms, such as people generally like to learn with computer, or most people like to learn with computer. Okay, you must be very careful when you use the present tense. Okay, and when can we use a present tense in an academic paper? Usually we can use that in a literature review section, or when we describe our own work, okay, our finding, our own paper, sorry. For example, table 1 shows something, that's facts, right? Table 1 really shows something, okay? Or table 2 shows something, figure 1 shows something. We can use present tense. Okay, well, or we discuss our finding or result, we can use present tense, okay? The result suggests something, or those finding provide some evidence, okay? That's a fact, okay? And the past tense is used to describe the process of conducting the study. For example, a total of 23 participants were involved in the study. That already happened, right? When you want to describe something already happened, you use past tense. Usually, when you describe your research progress, experimental progress, okay, or you describe how you develop your system, okay, you use past tense. But if you are trying to describe the system function or system structure, you need to use present tense. Why? Because the function and structure remain the same. But if you want to describe how you develop the system, that already happened. It should be in past tense, okay? Or you need to describe someone say something in some particular time. For example, Hwang in 1998, do something or say something, we need to use past tense. I think the most difficult thing is to use present perfect tense. It means something happened from some past time till now. Okay, we use present perfect tense. Okay. For example, researchers have investigated the effect and preference of student self-regulated, self-generated, and teacher-generated analogy. Okay. Well, if we say this, we mean from the past till now, research have already done such things. Okay. Not in a particular time, but it's in a period of time from the past till now. We try to emphasize that. So. When we try to answer the reviewer's question, reviewer's comment, and try to tell them what has been done to modify, to revise the paper, when we to answer the reviewer's question and comment, we need to use present perfect tense because we want to emphasize we already done based on your comment. So usually you need to use the present perfect tense. And also, if we use some particular term, such as in recent year, that means from several years ago till now, right? If we use this term, we need to use perfect present tense. And also recently, that means not long ago till now. Or in the past case, that means 10 years before till now, okay? If we use this term, we all need to use present perfect tense, okay? And never use future tense to state what is to be present in the next section. So this is wrong. In the next section, we will introduce the system. This is a wrong use of English, okay? Because when you present a paper to people, those things are already in the position in the same time. Okay, they are only in different location, but not in different time. So you cannot use future tense. Okay. So what we need to say is, in the next section, the system is presented. Okay, or the system structure is presented. The experimental result are discussed below. You cannot say will be discussed below because we already discussed it and put in the following section. Okay. So the only chance to use future tense is in the last paragraph of your paper. In the future, we will do something, okay? Our future study will focus on something. because not yet happened. Those study not yet happened, so you can use future tense. Okay. Okay. So this is a summary. Okay. In the introduction section, you can use present perfect, or past tenses. Okay. In the literature review, you can use present perfect, or past tenses. In the method section, you should use the past section, past tense. Okay. In the discussion section, you can use present and past tenses. In the conclusion, you can use present, perfect, and past tenses. Okay. If you will try to reply to the reviewer's comment, you also need to use present perfect tenses. Okay. Is that clear? Okay. Okay. So let me check if you understand. Okay. You want to address the system development process. What is the tense that you use? What should be the tense you use? Address the system development process. You use what kind of software to develop, and yeah. If you want to say something, I use Java to develop a system. Okay. Should that be in which tense? You need to use past tense because that already happened. Okay. If you want to address the system structure and function, okay, the system consists of 3 units. Okay, and each unit has some function. What is the tense you need to use? You should use present setting because it never changes, right? The structure and function never change. Okay, okay. If you want to address how the experimental group and use the system, or the control group will learn, what should we use? What tense should we use? Past, yes, because that already happened, right? Now we understand? Okay. Because many Western people don't understand, Yeah, many also from United States or from European, they use the wrong tense, So sometimes I correct their English. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you.